Howdy troops, it's Icy Walker and I'm going to show you guys another tutorial today just for Bucket for 1.8.8. Well, as you know guys, we are using Spigot, and this tutorial is going to show you how to make a horse spawner. And not just any horse spawner, we're going to actually make a car system using these horses. The reason why we use horses is because horses in Minecraft are actually coded in such a way that allows you to sit on them, and a lot of other mobs do not have this ability. There is other ways to do it to get around the system, like spawning an arrow and sitting on it, but you just have to be in the situation that whichever one works best for you, go ahead and do it. But in my case, I rather use the horses. The main reason why I like using horses is because the horses API actually has its own inventory, which I think is really cool, and it actually simulates a car. Because when you think of a car, it has a trunk, and then the trunk has a special storage space where you can hold items in that specific trunk. That's why, if you know, on My Life UK, I do use horses instead of using mine carts or anything like that, and I personally think it looks a lot better. So what we're going to show you guys today is not just how to spawn a horse. We're going to show you how to spawn a horse. We're going to show you how to set some variables for the horse. We're going to show you how to set the health of the horse, the speed of the horse, as well as this. And also we're going to make a little tweak to actually allow to use car keys so that you can unlock the horse and lock the horse. So guys, what I've done is I'm on the actual server. I've made a little area so that you guys can see where we're going to spawn the player, because I thought that maybe spawning in player's current position doesn't always work in our favor, because there's always going to be situations where maybe you don't want to spawn on the horse, or maybe you, okay, what we're going to do is we'll make it you spawn on the horse but at a different location, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do all of this as well. So I'm going to go into the server and I'm going to show you what we've done. We have the trait man, just like before, who has a trait NPC. So when you spawn with the baby pig spawner, and it still spawns baby pigs just like before. So let me just quickly remove this person. It's little piggy. Second, select and remove, because we don't need a pig at all right now. We're going to completely change the pig code to spawn ourselves horses, and also spawn us with keys and all this lovely stuff too. So we've made this. I've made this little, very small area just for the player to spawn a horse. So what's going to happen? The player's horse is going to spawn here. Player's going to be on top. Maybe we should actually just get rid of this, because this might be a little bit of a problem when you're coming out with the horse. I'm not too sure how high it is for the horse. It shouldn't be a problem, but just in case, we just get rid of it. It's not a problem anyway. So what happens is this horse is going to spawn here. We're going to spawn a horse looking in this direction, not in this direction, or this direction. Make sure it's looking at this direction, and you're better to just do all your horsey stuff. But we're also going to have like the car key system and all that stuff. So in fact, no, we won't have you spawn directly on a horse, because that way it's just not going to be as fun, I don't believe. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to change the pick code so that it spawns a horse. And then I'm going to show you how to make a custom horse so that we can do just like the car key system and all this lovely stuff. Because one really cool thing about horses and any other entity or any object in the game, they all have separate IDs. They cannot share the same ID, which is very helpful when it comes to doing anything like this, because that way you can use an object and then correspond it to a certain horse because it has the ID that the horse has. And that's an easy way so that you can have one car key that fits to a specific horse. And I'm going to show you how to do all of that in a few seconds. So when we go back to the source code, we still got the baby pig spawn, as you can see here, and we're going to completely get rid of all this code. I think I might leave this bit for now, because I do like the smoke bacon every day bit. But what we're going to do is we are going to completely change it so that it's going to say a different text for when we spawn a horse. So what we're going to do is we first got to get rid of the pigs, because we're not spawning any more pigs, because we don't need them at all. We can leave the name because it's just a name object. We can change this at any other time. It's not a problem. So we can change this afterwards. But one thing I want to show you guys, and it does become a big problem, especially when it spawns horses. There is more than one type of horse. There's, I think, 4 types of horses, and one of the horses actually is a donkey. And personally, I really do not like donkeys, because I think, from what I'm aware, they can be ridden, but they can't have a saddle. Sorry, they can have a saddle, but they can't have an inventory, which causes a problem, especially for my case when I want to use cars. So I'm going to show you guys how to do a little bit of tweak code that is going to stop this from happening, so that the horse has to be a horse and not a donkey. And we're going to do this in what is actually called a do while loop. And a do while loop is what happens is it gets run once, and it will keep continuously running until the condition is met. and I'll show you exactly how to do it now. So it starts with do, open and close, and then while, and whatever condition you have. So in our case, we're gonna get to this all of this lovely bit in a second, but first we're gonna make a new boolean at the top. So if you remember, boolean is like a switch, it's an on and off switch, so that we can say, okay, this needs to be toggled on or this needs to be toggled off, and we can do this as many times as we want, wherever we want. So we're gonna make a new boolean, and we're gonna call it is a horse. So not house. And it's going to be equal to false, because we don't know if it is a horse yet until we actually do the loop. So in here we're going to make a new location, and the location is going to be called horse spawn pos. That way we know the horse spawn's position, and this is equal to the new location, because we'll generate a new location for the plugin to pick up. And the location picks off the world X, Y, and Z. So we're gonna first get the player. And one thing I'm gonna do right before this is an easier way. Instead of doing event get player each and every time, there's a lot easier way. You can actually just convert it. So we can convert it to a player. So we can have it as player is equal to event dot get player. That way we can just address it as player, and you'll pick up this as well. So it's less text. So we can just paste that there, paste it here, and do, for example, get the world, comma, player dot get location dot get the block X, because I always rather get the block X. But in fact, in this case, we're not actually going to be using this, are we? We're going to be using the different spawn point, because we're not spawning on the person's actual physical position. So what you're going to do on server, you need to go to where you want to spawn it. So we're going to spawn it right here, and we're going to be facing this way towards Trackman. So if you press F3, you have a list of all the commands on server. It shows you where your position is on server, looking at the block position, and also shows you which way you're facing. And it's really, really good code. I do recommend using this when you're making a plugin. It does tell you a lot of information. So in our case, we're going to be using the X, Y, and Z, but the block X, Y, and Z, so you can see it over here. So we've got -91, 68, 254. So we've got -91, -91, we've got 68, and we have 254. And that should be all the attributes it needs, if I am very sure. Let's just double check. We might be missing something. Let's just find out what it is. Ah, the Y. Okay. The Y, what we've got to have is this loop will continue if there's, you know, this is a condition met, and the condition that is met is that this is a horse. So if this is not equal to true, so this is not true, then do not do this code, because the main reason why we want this loop to continuously keep going and keep going and keep going if it is a horse. If it is not a horse, we want to do the loop again and just, in a sense, spawn another horse. So we also need to input location, because we need this so that we can spawn anything in a certain place. So now that we have that, we need to set the direction that the horse spawns in. So we need to change the location direction. It's known as a yawl. So we need to set the yawl, and the yawl position that we're currently facing, if we look here, is 178.6. You can actually see it right here. But the best way to do it is 180 -90, 0, and 90. So in our case, we're going to be using -180 or 80, exactly the same thing. So in our case, we're just going to use 180, and that should be good. Okay, next we need to do a check. But before I do this check, I want to show you guys exactly what happens if you do not do this check. So let's just quickly comment this out and comment the while loop out, and we're going to tell the player. So we're going to spawn the horse in, and then we're going to do the check to find out if it is a horse or not, or if it is not a horse. So the first we're going to do is spawn a horse. So we need so we got the position, get the current world that we're in, which is just going to get this variable. You can also do player.getWorld, but it's easier to get used to doing it this way. So we got the location, the world this location is, and using this we're going to spawn an entity, the location again, and entity type. So the entity type we're going to be doing, so I'll show you how many types there are. There is a lot. I think I showed you guys in the last video, but just in case you've missed it, there's a lot of entity types. Like literally almost any mob you could probably think of is here that you can spawn, but we're going to be spawning a horse, comma, and what we're also going to do is after this horse is spawned, so we're going to turn this into a physical horse. So remember, this is actually type entity right now. That is all. It's literally an entity, so it can be anything. You can say it's an entity and assign it to for example a squid, but it won't use any of the squid's commands because the entity type is not horse. So what is best to do is to import the horse class. So we got horse, and we can call it a lowercase horse. It's equal to this entity type to be forced into the type of horse, because what that will do, so we're going to import the horse entity. What this will do is anytime we try to access this, it will only give us command that horses can use. In the situation this is a slime, this will not pass through, because what it means is this does not have all the attributes that all the horses have. So what I do is it would make sure that it has all the attributes it needs of horse, and then you can use all the horse commands inside of this statement, which is very, very helpful. So I do recommend you do this whenever you can. So we're going to now use this horse, and now we can get certain things from it. For example, we can get if we can breed it, if we can set it to, we can sit on it. If, for example, it's been leashed, how much damage it has, how much health it has, all this lovely stuff that we can physically set just from this bit. Like for example, if it's how old it is, if it's an adult, if it's still a little baby, if you can mount on it, or if it's been tamed or not, all this lovely stuff that you can do from this code. So what we want to do is just to check if the horse is a horse. So we're going to get the player again. So we're going to just use the player. We're going to send the player a message. So send message in a string, and the message we're going to send is we're going to get the horse. We're going to get its name, and that's it. What this is going to do is going to say, okay, if the horse is a horse, it will spawn horse. If it's not a horse, and it's for example a donkey, it will spawn donkey. It will say donkey, sorry. And this will happen as many times as we click in the baby's pig spawn, and the horse is just going to keep spawning and spawning and spawning. So what we're going to do is we're going to save that. We're going to go to the top and fix this little error. Oh, because we're not using citizen anymore, so we don't need that anymore. We're going to export it. Yes. Don't need. Remember to always take these two off and keep the last two. Click finish. Yes. And reload the server. There we go. We still got the one NPC from him. And what we're going to do now, if I just quickly make this full screen for you guys, if we right click the baby pig spawner, it spawned a horse, a little baby horse, and I can see the horse name is horse. If we keep spawning over time, you get some donkeys, as you can clearly see. You see the donkey? But remember guys, we do not want any donkeys, so anytime this happens we want it to say nope, do not spawn a donkey. So what we're going to do, if I just put this back down, we're going to go back to the do while loop. So we're going to just put this back on. So we're going to have to keep this will keep going if this condition is true. If this condition is true, then everything should be fine. So okay, so one other thing I just think to add, don't forget this the do is a statement, so make sure you just add the close off as well, so it shouldn't cause any problems at all. So as it says here, it will keep doing this until this is true. In this situation, it will do an infinity loop. The reason why is because this is never true. So we got to make sure that what we do is, if it is what we want, we need to check, is this true, or if it's false. If it's false, do it again. If it is true, then leave this complete loop. So what we're gonna do is, we now know that the name that it can pick up is donkey, which is what we do not want, but we want it to always say horse. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna do an if statement inside the do loop. If horse get his name is equal, so we can get if it's equal to horse or donkey, but in the case we want it to be a horse. So if this equals, so we can add speech quotes, if it's equal to horse, then do everything that we want for horse and then leave the statement afterwards. So in our case, horse is equal to true. Okay, that means that now if we spawned it, it will just spawn horses only. But well, in this situation, what we'll do is spawn a donkey and a horse, because what will happen, it will spawn a donkey, find out this is not true, and then spawn another donkey. So, or spawn another horse. So what you need to do, if this is false, so we can do else, I want you to remove this horse. And what this will do, it will remove the entity from Minecraft, so it will just delete it. So now if we spawned it, export it perfectly just like normal, I will spawn as many horses as I can. Let's just kill, whoops, I didn't expect to kill myself, that was not the plan. Kill all. Oh, can't do the kill all command. Anyways, not the problem. We're gonna spawn straight back in the server with our baby pig spawner, and as you can see, oh, we got a lot of stuff, so we can just throw one of those. We don't need defense, and I'm just gonna spawn, and you'll see you never anymore find a donkey. But because you can't be able to physically see it, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this: horse dot get name player dot send message, and I want you to send the name again just like before, so you guys can now physically see it. Okay, reload this again. So now if we spawn, you see it spawns donkeys, spawn the horse, gets rid of the horse, spawns donkey, which is exactly what we want. So as you can see, there's way too many now. But if we, let's see if we can clear these guys out a bit. So we go to creative mode. So game mode 1. Just use a sword. It doesn't make a difference which sword. We just want to clear them out a little bit here. There's a lot of them. A lot of horses over here. So if I can hopefully spawn myself a donkey, you'll see that it will turn into a horse. Just let them run around a little bit. Got another horse. See? Donkey, horse. So now what's happened is it's got rid of the donkey and now spawn a horse in its place, which is what we want, because we don't want any donkeys at all. So that's now the first bit done. The next bit that we really want to do is we actually want it to be able to not just spawn the horse, but to do some stuff to the horse, like make sure it's tamed and also have a private class for him. So to do this, you need to do one thing. We need to do horse, and then you have all his attributes. So we want to set it to be tamed. So yep, he's tamed, so it's true. So that you don't have to, when you get on him, you can just stay with him now. You don't have to get on him and then come off him because it's not tamed yet, or you have to wait a few seconds, or you have to do that stupid timings thing when you get kicked off and all this stupidness, because that way it's all done instantly. We want to set the horse to be an adult, because if he's not an adult, then we cannot sit on him. You can set his age, or you can just set adult. I personally just set adult. I think it's a lot easier. We want to set him to have a chest, so we can do set Oh, I said house again. Why do I keep writing house? Set, not health. Set carrying chest. So true. This will mean that it will have a chest when he spawns. We can set its style, but I don't think that's much of a problem right now. We can set the horse's name, so set the name. It's under set custom name, and setting this custom name to be visible. So this is true first, and now the horse set custom name, and we can name him Icy's car. Just for now, it's not. You can name this absolutely anything. You can even have it so that what we can actually do is what we can use what we did originally in the main. Use this spawner system that we made, so we could just have it as NPC name is actually what gets put in here. It's all down to you guys. You can do this however you want. So there we go. And now if we save it, export it, reload it, and now if I was to spawn a horse, so let's just quickly clear these guys out of here a little bit. He will always be an adult, and his name is Pig. Because if you remember, the start button, our name starts off as Pig. And we can change this to however we want. So if you do help main to get the command, change NPC spawn name. Guys, I was thinking to myself why this caused an error. If you remember before, the way we done it is, if it doesn't produce the right command, it will cause a false statement, which is this error. So, if you remember, if we look back at the code, we have in the commands return false. This is kind of what just happened. So it's just printing out a log saying that it's returned nothing, because what's actually happened is I've actually done the command. If you remember the way our command is, if we have, it takes in the first attribute and then types in, but we haven't checked if this attribute even exists. So what we need to do is we need to go into our traits, we need to go into our traits. We need to do another if statement. If inox get the length is equal to 1, then do the statement. Else send a command to whoever sent it to me. So we can do sender dot send message, and we can do slash, get the name, and then amount. What this means is that every single time that this fails, it will just do this instead. So this way we can do that, and it can also return true because the command did work. It just didn't do what we wanted it to do. So we can do that, and we can now close this off. And there we go. So now every time that this is false, it will do this and then carry on. So now in the situation, now we export this, reload this, only do this command. Oops. It's going to say how to do it properly. So now we can change the name to, sorry, not amount, it's actually name, but that's not a problem right now. So the name that we want to use now is Icy's car. There we go. And now if we spawn, and guys, if you can see why this happened, is because I had a space. So we write Icy's car like so. There we go. So as you can see with this one, with the space, it means that there's 2 arcs, not 1. Hence why it did this. But the thing is, if you remember guys, we were not asking for this to happen anymore. So us setting 2, doing this, caused this issue because it's more than 1. So we have to have it in one go like so. That way it will spawn the name that we want, like so. Okay guys, the next bit we're going to be doing now is, for what I'm going to show you guys before we go into the next bit. You can see it's tamed completely, but as you can see, it has no saddle or it has no armor, but that's all done to you guys. You guys can just go into the horse inventory like so. So you'll just go to your trait, you go to horse, you say get inventory, and you just add the inventory, or even set the armor or the content or the item in which slot, or set it to have a saddle. And that's literally how easy it is, guys. But in our case right now, we won't be needing it, but I think it'll probably be a nice touch if I did show you guys how to do it very quickly. So what I'll do is I'll just demonstrate how quick it is. So we'll just do set saddle. It needs an item stack that we need, so we can make a new item stack. You can have it as a custom one where you can change the name and all that stuff, but personally I don't think you really need to. It's just a saddle, item stack, and the material is saddle, and it's that easy. So now we have a saddle. So now if we spawned a new mob, a new horse, got a saddle on, as you can clearly see, and we can use it to mount the horse, jump about, just as normal Minecraft does for horses. The next thing I'm going to show you guys is how to change the speed of a given horse, because for cars, no cars are all the same speed. Some cars are faster, some cars are weaker, and things like that. I'm going to show you guys how to do it in a second. In fact, what we're actually going to do, guys, is in the next part we're going to show you guys how to actually do this bit. We're also going to show you guys how to make a custom horse so that you can actually have car keys and all this lovely stuff to make the horse feel like an actual vehicle. And I'll show you guys how to do it in a second. See you in part 2.